Hey friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. I just want to start off today by saying that I want to dedicate this year Le'ila Nishmas, our good friend Maya's dad, who passed away a few days ago. So I hope that our learning together could be a merit for his neshama. Today we're starting the third parak of Berachos, which is very exciting. We're like mamish moving, you know. That's like the really cool thing about Daf Yomi. You know, it's a lot, it's intense, but you really cover a lot of ground, so it's quite nice. This parak talks about, it's called parak Misha Meso. So actually, interestingly enough, you know, it starts off with halachos that have to deal with onein and avelos that we which came up on Daf Tesvav, or was it, or Tezayin? And anyways, yeah, so today we're just going to start up talking about some halachos about onein and about osik min mitzvah, patr min mitzvah, and then we're actually going to get into some interesting stories about what do the dead know about what's going on in this world, right? And the halachos of like going to a cemetery and doing mitzvahs in front of mesim. So there's some pretty interesting stuff today and some interesting stories that we're going to see. So let's get started on that. So the third parak of Berachos begins. So we're going to define in the Gemara what exactly this means, that somebody who's has a deceased relative in front of him, but basically somebody who's an onein, let's just say somebody who's an onein. One second. Okay, somebody who's an onein, so he is basically, as we saw a few days ago, that when you're an onein, you are, remember that means before the relative has been buried, you are pater from all mitzvos, right? And that's what we're saying over here. No amita, those people who are carrying the coffin, and those people who are going to be switching them in the future. Okay, and even those people who are going to be switching those people, right? And Rashi says, right in Dibra Maskal v'chilufein, shekain derech shemeschalfin laseis lefi shakol chafatzin lizakos bo, right? That they would switch off, they would take turns who can carry the coffin, because everybody wants to be able to take part in that mitzvah. So basically, the people who are currently carrying the coffin, the people who are in the future going to be taking over for those people who are currently carrying the coffin, right? So the Mishnah says, "Es shelifnei amita v'es shel achar amita." So among the coffin carriers, there are two groups. There are those who have not yet carried the coffin, and there are those who have already carried the coffin. So "Es shelifnei amita tzarich b'hem pturim." So if they have not yet carried the coffin, so then they are pater from all mitzvos, probably because of osik min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah. Now, if they have already carried the coffin, so then they're done, and they can read Kriyat Shema and the chayav and all the mitzvahs. Ve'elu va'elu p'tur min tefillah. Both of them are going to be pater from tefillah. Okay, and Rashi says the labdo oraisa because it's not Mida Oraisa, which is interesting, I guess what it means. I guess that you are, I don't know. If we say Osek Min Mitzvah, Pater Min Mitzvah, so then I guess it only, if it applies to Deoraisas, then shouldn't it be applied to Deorabbanans? I don't know. Kavar Esameis V'chazru. So if they've now they've already buried the body, and now they're moving on to the next item on the many things that happen regarding burial. So v'chazru imichon lahaskov v'ligmor ad shelo yagiu lashura yaschilu v'imlav lo yaschilu. So remember, we talked about the shura the other day, right? That once you bury the body, so then you go to you go from the actual burial spot, and then all the mourners, all the people at the funeral make two lines, okay, and the mourners walk between the lines. So if I guess that the mourners, I assume it's talking about the mourners, right? That once the mace is buried, I guess, and they're already avelim, and avelim are chayav and mitzvah. So if they could chap arayin and say Kriyat Shema before they get to the shura, so then they should say it. But if they're not going to be able to say Kriyat Shema before they get to this line. So then they shouldn't start. Okay. So if they're standing in the line, and let's say there's lots of people, I guess that they make 2 lines on either side of the mourners. So those who are on the inside line, they are pturim from the mitzvos, and those who are on the outer lines are chayavim in the mitzvos. Mitzvos. Okay, very interesting, somewhat technical Mishnah. Let us move on. So the Gemara starts by asking, muta lefanav in v'sheinu muta lefanav lo. 1 second. We said that if the dead relative is like in front of you physically in the same room, that is when you're, pater from mitzvos. But if you're in a different room, let's say, the mace was in the morgue and you're back at your house, so then you're going to be chayev in the mitzvos. I mean, we talked, as long as the mace isn't buried, he's an onen. I thought onens are going to be pater from all mitzvos. Viramini, we have a contradiction. Misha meis muta lefanav, somebody who has his mace lefanav. We haven't yet defined what exactly that means, but we're working on it. Ochel b'bayis acher. So ideally, what he should do is he should eat in a different house, right? So if you have the mace is in a certain room somewhere, best would be to go to a different house and eat there. If he doesn't have a different house, so maybe he can go to his friend's house. If he doesn't have a friend's house to go to, so then he should just try to put up some kind of separation in the room where the mace is, and then eat. And Rashi says for ochel b'bayis acher, denira kiloig l'rash b'chulei. This is a pasuk that we're going to see a lot today. There's a pasuk, it's in Mishlei, that says that somebody who makes fun of a destitute person, you're blaspheming his creator, right? So the destitute person in this case is the dead person. So a dead person can't eat, so therefore we don't want to eat in front of them. So therefore better to get a different house, or if you can't get a different house, at least try to put up some kind of separation in the room. And if there's nothing to make a separation with, then at least just let him turn his face and eat. He doesn't lean and eat. And he doesn't eat meat. He doesn't drink wine. He doesn't make brachos beforehand. And he doesn't say birkat hamazon. And nobody else makes a bracha and has him in mind. And he doesn't make a zimun, right? We don't include him in a zimun. And Rashi interestingly says eino tzarich, right? I mean, he doesn't need to do any of these things, which sounds like if he wants to, he can, which is interesting. He's pater from kriyashma, from tefillah, from tefillin, and from all the mitzvahs in the Torah. Fine. On Shabbos, he actually does lean, right? Because as Rashi points out on a few lines ago, he said which is very interesting. That they would generally, it was very chashuv, it was very honorable to lie down on a bed when you would eat. The reason why this is super interesting is A, because it is, and B, because at the Seder we have an inyan, we have halacha of haseba, to lean. So I think we generally just kind of sit in our chair and just awkwardly lean to the left. I mean, that doesn't really seem to be, at least according to Rashi, what a haseba really is. I mean, it sounds like you should really have beds and you should really be lying down on your left side and leaning. Anyway, so we say that on Shabbos he does lean, and he eats meat and drinks wine, and he makes brachas on his food, bracha rishona, and he benches, and they bless for him, they can include him in a zimun. And he's chayiv in all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Even when he's in onen, if it's Shabbos, he's going to be chayiv in all the mitzvahs of the Torah. Fine. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Omer says, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, mitoch is chayiv ba'elin is chayiv b'kulan. And since he's chayiv in these things, like brachas and things like that, and davening, so he's chayiv in everything. Okay, so what's the nafkamina between the Tanakama, who says v'chayiv b'chol mitzvos amurs b'Torah, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who says that since he's chayiv in these, he's chayiv in everything? What's the nafkamina? From Rabbi Yochanan and Binayu, Rabbi Yochanan says, what's the nafkamina there? Tashmish Amita Ika Benayu. Okay. The question is he chayiv in the mitzvah of ona on Shabbos when he is in Onin, right? So we say that generally during the week he would be potter from all the mitzvos. On Shabbos he's chayiv in the mitzvos. Rav Shimon Gamliel says since he's chayiv in this, he's chayiv in everything. What's the everything that's included? The mitzvah to sleep with his wife on Shabbos. Rav Shimon Gamliel says yes, he would be chayiv in that mitzvah. Tanna Kama would say no, he's chayiv in all the mitzvahs. He's not chayiv in the mitzvah of Ona while he is in Onin. Okay, but the Gemara says Katani Mias potter mikriyas shema umina tefillah umina tefillah umina tefillin umikol mitzvah samors b'torah. What's the important part? We just did like a huge sort of quotation over here. What is the point? The point is this. The point is that it says over here that he's going to be pater from all of these mitzvos. And the first thing that we said, ideally, is he should go to his friend's house. So we're saying that he's going to his friend's house and he's pater from all the mitzvos in the Torah. Clearly, the mace isn't in front of him. The whole idea was, ideally, we want him to get out and go to a different house, and yet we're saying he's still pater. So what does it mean that only somebody who the mace is in front of him, he's pater in all of these things? So Amar Papa, so Papa says, oh, you're right, good question. So let's just say then that when it says that you're pater from all this stuff, it's talking about when you're actually in the same room, and you couldn't even figure out how to get up a divider in the room, so you really just turned your head. So in that case, in mamish is meso mutal lefanav, and that's why you're pater. But if you were in a different house, you would actually be chayiv. That's Papa's opinion. Okay. Rav Ashi Amar Kevin shemutal olav lekovro kmutal lefanav dami. Rav Ashi says no. Rav Papa, that's not what it means. Even if the guy is in a completely different building, he would still be pater from all the mitzvos. So what does it mean meso mutal lefanav? It's in front of him. It means that since it's upon him, since he has the responsibility that he needs to bury this relative, it's as if the dead body is in front of him, even if it's not physically in the same house, and therefore he's pater from all the mitzvahs, even if it's not literally in front of him. Shenamar, as the pasuk says by Avram, on the one hand, right? I think these are two consecutive psukim in Parshas Chayesara. It says Vayakom Avram me'al pnei meso. On the one hand, it says that Avram got up from his from Sarah, which means that he clearly wasn't next to her anymore. V'nemar, and it says V'ekra meisi milefanai. And it says that I will bury my dead from in front of me. What do you mean? I thought we just said that he got up from her. So rather, rather no. The point is that as long as he still has to bury this relative, so it's as if the actual body is in front of him, and he is going to be pater from all of these mitzvahs. Okay, fine. Question: Meso in avam mishamro lo. One second, he's only pater from all the mitzvahs if it's his relative. That's the only time when you're pater for all the mitzvahs. And what if you're just watching? What if you're guarding the mace? What if you're doing the mitzvah of shmira on the mace? Are you going to be chayiv in all mitzvahs? What about pater min mitzvah? Also min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah. Ve'atanya. But we learn in the Brayso,Amishamer es mace. Somebody who's guarding a dead body, afal pisha eino meso, even though it's not related to that person. Pater mikriyashma minatfilin umkol mitzvahs amuros b'Torah. And we say that he's pater from all the mitzvahs, even if it's not his relative, but if he's guarding the mace, then he's pater. So the Gemara says, you're right. In both cases, you're pater. Mishamra afal pisha eino meso. If you're guarding a mace, even though it's not a relative, you're pater from all mitzvos. Meso afal pisha eino mishamro. And if it's a relative, even if you're in a completely different house and you're not guarding the mace, you're still going to be pater. Okay, fine. Question. So the only two situations are when it's a relative who dies, or if you're guarding the mace. In those cases, you're pater from the mitzvos. But what if you're just walking in a beis hakvaros? You're just walking in a cemetery. Ve'atanya, lo yahalech adam bebeis hakvaros utfilin berachos v'sefer Torah b'zro v'koreh. A person should not walk in a cemetery with tefillin on his head, with a Sefer Torah in his hands and he's reading it. And if he does this, and if he does this, then he violates the pasuk in Mishlei that says that somebody who makes fun of a downtrodden, of a poor person, of a destitute person, he is blaspheming his maker, right? And the destitute people here being, of course, the Mason. When we're saying that you shouldn't be doing mitzvahs in a cemetery because it's like you're making fun of the dead people who can't do mitzvahs. So we should also we should include even people walking in a cemetery are also pater from all mitzvos. So the Gemara answers, Hasam toch arba amos hu to aser. Chutz la arba amos chayiv. No, in a cemetery, you're not like inherently potter from doing mitzvahs because you're in a cemetery. If you're within 4 amos of a buried body, so then you shouldn't be doing any mitzvahs because it's loig larash charef oseu. But if you're not within 4 amos of any particular dead body, then you would be chayav. Okay. The Amar Mar, as we say, meis tofes dalad amos likriyas shema, that a mace takes up 4 amos legabe kriyas shema, that you shouldn't do kriyas shema within 4 amos of a mace. Hacha chutz dalad amos nami pater. Whereas over here, if you're guarding a mace, or if it's a relative who died, even outside of 4 amos, you are going to be pater. And an interesting thing is that a lot of times we actually go to graves and we pray at the graves. People are even like leaning on the graves. Like obviously we're there in 4 amos, how can we pray? First of all, it's an interesting question. I think I've heard people say that maybe it's not the best thing, but they probably also weren't so Hasidic. But at the same time, we're going to see actually also on the same page about how tzaddikim, even when they're dead, they're called alive. So maybe then, you can rely on that and say that they're not, we don't treat them as, they don't necessarily take up the arba amos that a dead person necessarily does. Okay, so this next part, I got some questions, friends. Maybe you can help me answer it. So Gufa, we said earlier, Amashamer es a mace, somebody who is guarding a dead body, afalpisha eno meso, even though it's not his relative, meaning he's just doing the mitzvah of guarding a dead body. Pater mikriyas shema min atfila min atfilin mikol mitzvah samuris batorah. Okay, fine. So osig min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah. Very nice. Hayu shnayim, if there were 2 of them, zeh meshamer v'zeh koreh, v'zeh meshamer v'zeh koreh. Okay, if there were 2 of them, so then, when it comes man kriyas shema, so then they just kind of take a shift, right? One of them watches the body and the other one reads kriyas shema, then the other one watches the body and the other one reads kriyas shema, right? So they shift, and that way, their body's always being guarded, and that's that. So question number 1 is that, well, first of all, if we say oseg min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah, so then first of all, why should they have to take shifts, right? If they're doing a mitzvah and they're pater from the mitzvah, why should they have to take shifts? And so then maybe over here you'll argue that well, why not? There are 2 of them. Somebody's always going to be guarding the mace, so just why not? Just say kriyas shema. Fine, okay, I still don't get it. But, you should be pater from eating kriyas shema. There should be no reason why you should have to say kriyas shema. But fine, okay, he's not really needed. Let's say so. Maybe that's the answer. That since he's not needed really, because there's another person, so he's not necessarily pater, and he should go do it. That's fine. Okay, but what about on Daf Yud Daled Amud Beis, where we talk about the people who are digging the catacomb for the mace, and we say the same thing, that they should take shifts. I mean, over there they really are needed because you'll go twice as fast. If 2 people are working as opposed to 1 person, or like, why should they have to take shifts? Why don't they just like stop? It's the same net loss or whatever. I don't know. Like, it just seems like over there actually both of them are really needed. If they're pater min mitzvah, then why should they have to take shifts in order to read kriyas shema? Like, how do we understand oseg min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah? And then so that's question number 1. But fine, so let's say we answer it over here by saying, you don't really need 2 people to read kriyas shema, to be doing the guarding, so one of them may as well just read kriyas shema. Fine, and then they'll switch. But what I really don't understand is Ben Azai now. Ben Azai, Omer says Ben Azai, hayubayim basfina. So if they were in a boat and somebody passed away on the boat, okay, and you have 2 people guarding the dead body that's on the boat. So manicho bezav v'zo mispalin shneim bezav v'sacher. So what they do is they leave the dead body in one corner, then they just kind of stop guarding it for a few minutes, and they go to a different corner and they both pray at the same exact time. Okay, my benai, what's an afkamina? How come in the first case we're saying that they should take shifts, whereas Ben Azai is saying that they sort of just take a break from doing their guarding and just go pray. So Marvina choshin lachbarim ike benayu, marsa v'chosh chashinan umarsa v'lo chashinan. The question is, do we have to be concerned that mice are going to come and sort of start eating the dead body, right? So Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that on a Ben Azai says that on a boat you don't have to be concerned about mice, and because you don't have to be concerned about mice, so then they can just both go and daven in the other corner. So I don't know, maybe you can explain that. What it means is that since there's no mice, then I guess you don't really need to do shmira in the first place. Like, there's nothing to really be concerned about. If there's nothing to be concerned about, so then I guess we don't really need their shmir so much in the first place, and that's why they can both go and daven Shemona Esrei, because they're going to be chayiv in mitzvos. Then I guess maybe it should also be the same thing if it's only one person, because at the end of the day, there isn't really shmira needed in the first place over here. So is it specifically two people? Is it only one person? I have some questions here, friends. I have some questions here. I'm not super clear on osek min mitzvah, patur min mitzvah, and what it exactly means, because sometimes we are saying that even though they seem to be chayiv in mitzvah, we're still saying that they should do it anyways. I mean, it could be that even, I can kind of explain like the stuff over here that according to Tanakama, you could say, or even maybe Rabbi Lazar, maybe Ben Azar would agree as well. Like maybe the way that we understand osek min mitzvah, patur min mitzvah is that, if whoever is specifically needed to be doing that mitzvah is going to be patur from mitzvahs, but if you have other people who aren't strictly needed, so then they're going to be chayiv in the mitzvahs, and that's why they should step away and do the mitzvahs. But then I have the question over there from when they're digging the catacombs, because both of them really are needed. Each one is adding value in the digging, and thus maybe there are certain parts that maybe only one person can do. I don't know. Okay, fine. Very good. Tana Rabbanan. The rabbis taught, somebody who's moving bones from one place to another. He shouldn't take the bones, throw them into some kind of saddlebag, chuck the saddlebag onto the donkey, sit on the bones, and go on his way. That would be very bizayondik. It would be very disgraceful. Not treating the bones with respect. But if he was concerned that maybe Gentiles will see him and cause him problems if they see the bones, or maybe thieves, bandits will want to sort of chop him, so then he would be allowed to put them in a saddlebag and ride on them to kind of hide them. Okay, fine. And just like they said this regarding bones of a dead body, so they say the same thing by a Sefer Torah. Now, one second, the Gemara says, Ahaya. One second, when we say the same thing by a Sefer Torah, we're talking about the Reisha, about not putting the bones into a saddlebag and sitting on them, or the Sefer, which is about, if he's concerned about Nachrim or Listim, then he would be allowed to. So, Ilema Reisha Pshita Migar Sefer Torah Me'atzamos. If we're talking about the Reisha, that thing, so basically, don't take a Sefer Torah, chuck it in a saddlebag, chuck the saddlebag on the donkey, and sit in the Sefer Torah. Well, obviously, if you don't do that for bones, then you shouldn't be doing that for Sefer Torah either. Ela Sefer. It's saying about the Sefer, right? That no, and just like by the bones, if you're concerned about Nachrim or Listim, you're allowed to put it in a saddlebags and sit on it to hide it. The same thing would apply to Sefer Torah. You wouldn't have to, carry it if you're concerned about Nachrim or Listim. Okay. Amar Rachva, Amar Rav Yehuda. If somebody sees that, I guess that there's a funeral procession going on or will be going on, and you do not escort the dead body to his final resting place, you violate the pasuk of somebody who makes fun of a destitute person, blasphemes his maker. Vim hilveu mascharu. And if he does escort this deceased to their final resting place, what is his reward? Amar Rav Asi alav akasav omer malve Hashem chonin dal. That about him the pasuk says that. So basically, okay, this pasuk is a pasuk in Mishlei, and it says. So let's understand the pasuk first in its proper context, which is malve Hashem chonin dal. That somebody who has mercy on a poor person and gives him tzedakah, let's say gives him $100. So it's as if he gave a loan to God. Now loans get paid back, right? Ugmulo yishalim lo, and God is going to pay him back, and even more so, right? So somebody who gives tzedakah, it's as if you give some money to a person, as if you lent money to God, and He's going to pay you back, and also more so, and then some. But the way that the Gemara is learning this pasuk is basically chonein dal, right? That if somebody has mercy on a destitute person, to basically escort him to his final resting, so melaveh Hashem. Basically, it's as if he's escorting God. It's as if he's escorting God. What does Rashi Karibe? So Rashi says, Malveh Hashem chonin dal Karibe melaveh es hamakom. Exactly. Mishachonin es hadal ve'ein l'chadal min hameis Ve'hamilaveh oso kilu milaveh es hamakom b'diuk. That you don't have a destitute person more than a deceased person, and when you are escorting this person to his final resting, it's as if you are escorting God. Umechabdo chonen evyon. And the Gemara says, and who is somebody who honors God? Somebody who honors God is somebody who has mercy on a destitute person, who of course in this case is the deceased. Rabbi Yonasan. Okay, now here we get into some really, really interesting stories over here, so get ready. Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yonasan, Abu Shakle ve'azle b'beis hakvaros. Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yonasan were walking in a beis hakvaros, in a cemetery. Havakashadya tchilta de Rabbi Yonasan. Now, the tzitzis of Rabbi Yonasan were sort of dragging on the graves, okay? At least that's how Rashi learns it. It means that they were dragging on the grave. So Amalei Rabbi Chia dalye kadesh lo yomru lemachar b'en etzleinu v'achshav mecharfen osanu. So Rabbi Chia said to Rabbi Yonasan, you should really pick up your tzitzis and not have them drag on the graves, so that we shouldn't, have these mason saying, look at these people, how inconsiderate. Tomorrow they're gonna, soon they're gonna come and join us, and yet now they don't even care to think like maybe they're being inappropriate, and that it hurts our feelings that they're able to do mitzvos and we can't. Which is also interesting, because generally I think we don't wear have our tzitzis out in the beis hakvaros. Now according to this learning, Rabbi Chia didn't tell Rabbi Yonasan to put away his tzitzis. He just said don't rub it in their face, literally, right? Don't have them drag it on their graves. A little sensitivity, but it would sound like at least according to this, if your tzitzis are out in a cemetery, that could be okay. Anyways. So now the Gemara asks, one second. Umiyade kulehai. So Amarle, right? Umiyade kulehai. So Rabbi Yonasan said to Rabbi Chia, seriously, Rabbi Chia, do you really believe in that hocus pocus? Do these Mason really know that much? They really realize that my tzitzis are dragging on their grave? Doesn't the pasuk say that dead people don't know anything? So Amarle, so Rabbi Chia said to him, Im karisa lo shanisa, im shanisa lo shilashta, im shilashta lo perishulach. He says, look, if you learned that pasuk once, you clearly didn't learn it a second time. And if you learned it a second time to understand it better, well, you don't understand it good enough. Clearly you didn't read it a third time. If you read it a third time and didn't get it, well, sorry, brother. I guess they just never explained it to you. You know what that pasuk means, right? It's that same pasuk, right? It's a pasuk in Koheles, right? It says, Ki achaim yodim sheyamusu, that those who are alive know that they will die. Ve'mesim enam yodim me'uma, and the Mason don't know anything. Ve'en od lehem sachar ki nishkach zichram. They can't get any more reward, because anything they do doesn't get remembered anymore in God's eyes. So he says, Ki achaim yodim sheyamusu. What does it mean that those who are alive know that they will die? Elu tzadikim sheb'misasa nikru chaim. This is a reference to tzadikim, to the righteous, who even when they're dead, they're called alive. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, in Shmuel, it says, Benayahu ben Yoyada ben ish chai. Benayahu ben Yoyada was the son of a alive person. Okay, Rav Pa'olim mikavteel. He was a man of great actions from Kavteel. Who hika as Shnei Ariel Moab. He smote the two kings of Moab. And he went down and he smote the lion in a pit, which is a tight place, and b'yom hashalag, on a very cold and snowy day. Wow, that's quite the feat. So the Gemara says, Ben Ish Chai. What does it mean, the son of a live person? What is like everybody else? Okay, so everybody else is the son of dead people. He, for some reason, is the son of live people. Like what does that mean? No, he was the son of somebody who's alive, somebody who even when he's dead, he's considered alive. So that's how we see that even so tzaddikim, even when they're dead, they're considered to be alive. Rav Pa'olim mikavteel. What does it mean that he was a man of great actions from Kavteel? Shariba v'kibetz pa'olim laTorah. Oh, right, meaning mikavteel l'kabetz, to gather for kel, for God, right? That he increased and he gathered workers for Torah, right? People who would probably study Torah. V'rika shnei Ariel Moab, right? And he hit the two Ariel Moab. What does it mean? Shelo iniach kimos lo b'mikdash rishon v'lo b'mikdash sheni. That he didn't leave anybody as great as him, not by the first base of Mikdash, not by the second base of Mikdash. Because of course, Ariel, right? right? Binyan Ariel, the Ariel is a reference to the Beis HaMikdash. And he went down and he smote the lion inside the pit on a snowy day. Those who say that he was a Balkari, right? His sperm came out of him, so he had to go to the mikvah, but he didn't just go to any mikvah. He cracked open the ice in the Siberian winters and he jumped into a freezing cold mikvah. Okay, those who say that he taught the Medrash Halacha of Sefer Vayikra during the winter. Okay, fine. During the fall, I guess. Okay. And then when it says that the Mason don't know anything, so of course Rabbi Yonasan said, the Mason don't know anything. They don't realize that I'm dragging my tzitzis on them. So Rabbi Chia explains, you know what this pasuk means? It means Eila Rishayim Shebchayim Kuriyan Mason. These are the Rishayim that even when they're alive, they're already called dead. Shneimar Va'ata Chalal Rasha. See Israel, right? That Yechezkel says to Chizkiah, he says, and you, dead corpse, evil person, leader of Israel. So we see that even though he was still alive, we called him a Chalal, which is a corpse. Or if you want, I can prove from here. Apishnayim edim o shlosh edim yumas hames chayu ela hames me ikara. Right? It says in the pasuk that by 2 or 3 judges, a dead person will die. What do you mean? Is a dead person will die? He's still alive now? No, it means that even though, technically he's still alive, but as far as we're concerned, he's dead because he's been condemned to be killed by the Beis Din. Fine. Now check this out. These are some crazy stories coming up. Bnei Rabbi Chia nafuk l'kiryasa. So the sons of Rabbi Chia, interestingly enough, we were just talking about Rabbi Chia and Mason, and do they know what's going on in the world, right? How much do they know what's going on? So regarding the previous story about the tzitzis, at least they know what's going on concerning them, right? The question is, what do they know about the general happenings in the world? So Bnei Rabbi Chia nafuk l'kiryasa. So the sons of Rabbi Chia went out to make a living, to do business in the city. And somehow they both forgot their learning. And they were having a really hard time remembering their learning. So one of the sons said to the other, you think that our father Rabbi Chia knows that we're having, that we're in such a rough spot that we forgot our learning and it's really killing us? The other one says, no, how would he know? Right? There's a pasuk in Eov. Right, it says that once a person dies, he has no clue what's going on in the world. His children could become, the president of the world, and he will have no clue of the success of his child. And the opposite, it can become mamish destitute, and the dead person will have no clue what happens to his children afterwards. So he said, absolutely not. Our father does not know what's going on with us right now. The other one says, really, you think that he doesn't know what's going on? But the very next pasuk in Eov says, "Ach besaro alav yichav v'nafsho alav teva." Right? That so the pasuk in Eov is defined by the Metzudas David that ach besaro kilu, when he's alive and he has his flesh, so then he feels pain and stuff. But the Gemara is learning it to mean that even while he's dead, he does feel pain to his flesh. Right? V'amar Rabbi Yitzchak, and Rabbi Yitzchak says, "Kasher rim lemes kemachad b'b'sar achai," that a worm that is eating up a dead body is as painful to that dead body as if you stick a needle into a live person's flesh. So we see that they are aware of what's going on even in this world once they're dead. So this brother was bringing it as a proof that our father does actually know what's going on in this world and that we are having a hard time because we forgot our learning. So then the other brother responded, Amir b'tzara did hu yadeh, b'tzara da'achrina lo yadeh. So no, they only know about their tsar. They know that they're being eaten up by a worm and it's very painful. Maybe you can also argue that they know that people are schlepping their tzitzis on their graves, but they don't know that their children forgot their learning and it's very difficult for them. That they don't know. Okay, vilo, but they don't know that stuff. V'al but we learn in a brayso that there was a ma'aseh b'chassid echad. There was a story with a certain chassid. Shenasan dina la'ani be'erev Rosh Hashanah b'shnei batzoros. That he gave a gold coin to a poor person on Erev Rosh Hashanah, but the problem was it was a famine, and it was like he didn't really have money to be giving to that poor person. V'knitaso ishto, and he got in a fight with his wife over it, because I guess they really couldn't afford to be giving away their gold coins to poor people. So he went and he mamish got the boot. He slept in the cemetery that night on Rosh Hashanah. And while in the cemetery on Rosh Hashanah night, he heard two spirits, and these spirits were speaking to each other. And one spirit said to the other spirit, so one spirit said to the other, hey, my friend, why don't we go and see what's happening behind the curtains over there? Right? Rashi says, right, the curtain that separates the Shekhinah, God, from the angels. So let's go sneak back there and see what kind of bad stuff is going to happen in this world this year. The only problem was that her friend said to her, I can't go with you, because I'm buried in a mat of reeds and my soul is stuck here and I can't go with you. So why don't you go? And whatever you hear, just tell me. It'll be very interesting to me. Fine, okay. So the friend who was able to go went, kind of listened in, did a little spy job, listened in on what bad stuff is going to happen in the world this year. She came back and and her friend who was stuck in her grave said to her, so what did you hear? She said, basically there are three rains when you want to plant, okay? And so she heard that anybody who plants in the first rain, a hail is going to come and destroy it, right? Basically, a hail is going to come later on. It says by Barad, it says that by the hail in Egypt that it destroyed the what was it? I don't remember, but basically the things that were planted earlier and were already more mature, so the bara, the hail destroyed it because it was too strong and they snapped in half, whereas the things that were planted later and were sort of more flexible, more flimsy, they were able to withstand the hail. So basically the same thing over here. They said that anybody who plants in the first planting, essentially, by the time the hail comes, they'll already be strong and the hail is going to snap them in half. So halahu bizar b'via shnia. So what this chassid, who had some inside information, he, of course, was smart enough, and he planted in the second planting, so that when the hail came, his plants were still kind of flimsy, and they were able to get knocked around by the hail and stay planted. So kol olam kulo laka shalolo laka, right? And sure enough, everybody's fields got destroyed by the hail, but his was able to withstand it, and he had a windfall that year. A very good year for this guy. Maybe it was reward for giving tzedakah on Erev Rosh Hashanah. Anyways, l'shana acheres halach v'lam b'beis hakvaros. So he figured, okay, worked out last year, let me do the same thing the next year, right? So sure enough, time two, he slept in the cemetery in Rosh Hashanah. V'shama osan shtei ruchos shemisab zom zo. And sure enough, he heard his two friends from the previous year that the two spirits were speaking to each other. So one of them said to the friend, look, let's go behind the pargod and see what kind of bad stuff is going to happen this year in the world. Sounds very interesting. Didn't I tell you last year I can't come? I'm trapped here because I was buried in a mat of reeds. No, but do the same thing as last year. Go find out and then come back and tell me. I'm very interested. So she went, she found out what she found out, and she came back. So the friend who was stuck there said, no, so what did you hear? And she said, I heard that whoever plants in the second planting, in the second rains, a wind is going to come and blow them out of the earth because they're not going to be strong enough yet. So halach bazar b'via rishona. So what he did was this time he planted in the first rains, so that by the time this typhoon came, his crops were strong enough in the ground that they were able to withstand it. But everybody else got blown out of the ground, and they planted in the second one because the previous year, when they planted in the first one, the hail broke it, destroyed it. So shakola olam kulo nishdaf v'shalolo nishdaf, and sure enough, everybody else's plants got blown out of the earth, but his was strong enough to stay planted. And then his wife said to her, hey, Mr. Chassid, like, this is weird. Last year, everyone's stuff got destroyed and yours didn't. And the same thing happened this year. Everyone else got blown out of the ground and yours didn't. So Sachla kol advar malalu. So he mamish told her everything from A to Z, right? The fight, the cemetery, the spirits, the mat of reeds, everything. So Amru and sure enough, very very shortly after this chassid told everything to his wife got in an argument, got in a little fight with the mother of this girl who was buried in the mat of reeds. And Amrla, and then the wife of that chassid said the fateful words to this mother, hey, you go look at your daughter who's buried in a mat of reeds. Whoa, crazy. So L'shana Acheres, the next year, halach v'lam b'beis hakvaros, the same chassid tried his strategy again. He went to the cemetery on Rosh Hashanah night, and he heard those same spirits. So one of the spirits said to the friend, let's go behind the curtains and see what bad stuff is going to happen in the world this year. To which the friend who was buried in the mat of reeds said, I don't think that we should be doing this anymore. Our conversations are being snooped upon among the living, i.e., this friend somehow was aware of the conversation between the wife of this chassid and her mother. So we see that the dead spirits do know what's going on in the world, and because of that, she was able to say that we probably shouldn't be doing this anymore. Which is also interesting that you can have friends even after you're dead, spirit friends. Are those like ghost friends? I don't know. So Alma Yade. So the Gemara says it's not really conclusive that they know what's going on in this world. It's possible somebody else died and then told her, by the way, there was a story with your mother and somebody else, and apparently people know that you're buried in a reed of mats, but it doesn't necessarily say that she knew what was going on in the world. Maybe somebody else died and told her. Tashma, the Zeiri have a mafkid zuze gabe ushpazichte. Now we have a story with Zeiri. Zeiri, I guess maybe I'm actually kind of I just read yesterday that chapter from Rav Steinsaltz's book that Yisrael posted in the WhatsApp group, which was fascinating. And basically, so now I'm thinking like Zeiri was maybe one of those like young yeshiva students who went to go study, and like maybe his parents sent him money. Anyway, so he would leave his money by the innkeeper that he was staying at. And that was like, I guess that was the equivalent of his bank. So at the Asiva Azil Leverav, Shchiva. And then what happened was, the way I'm understanding it at least, one day he went to the Beis Medrash to learn, and he came back, and sure enough, she was already gone. She was dead. And he's like, oh no, that's not good. What about my money? I gave it to her because she puts it in a secret place where people can't find it. So also Basar L'Chatzamavis. So Yitaka followed her to the cemetery. Amrla, and he said to her, Zuzi, Heicha. And he said to her, where, can you just let me know where my money is so that I can get it? Amrle, she said to him, Zil shaklinu mituse tzinora didasha b'doch plan. She said, yeah, no problem. Basically their doors would be like a door, and then in the middle of the door on the bottom there would be some kind of peg, and that peg would then go out into a hole in the ground, and it would, the door would basically turn on that peg in that hole. So she said, look, if you go to such and such a door, so then just look under the peg of the door, and that's where the money is. The ima, and also, by the way, once you're here already, if you could do me a favor, just can you ask my mom to shadli masterkai v'govtai de kuchla bade planyasa de asi lamachar. And by the way, once you're here, can you do me a favor? I need my comb and my makeup. Can you just ask my mother to send that stuff with such and such, with so and so who's going to die tomorrow? I'd really appreciate that. So we see that she knew that so and so was really sick and was about to die. How does she know? Clearly, she knows what's going on in the world, or at least in the hospitals. So Alma Yade, no, Dilma Duma Kadmu Machrasu. Maybe Duma, the angel, maybe the what does Rashi say? he says, Malach shu memuna ala mesim, right? The angel who is appointed on the dead. So maybe he kind of comes and lets them know in advance, who's coming the next day, so that they can, be nice, show them around. So maybe they don't necessarily know what's going on in the world, but just they got the announcement. Okay, fine. So we're still trying to prove if they know what's going on in the world, and we haven't succeeded yet. Okay. Tashma da'avur de Shmuel havu kamafkede gabe zuze diasme. The father of Shmuel, he was in charge of the money for the orphans, right? They would raise money to support orphans, and they would keep that money by Shmuel's father. Kinach nafshe lo aba Shmuel gabe. And when Shmuel's father died, Shmuel wasn't with him. And havu kakaru le bar achil zuze diasme. And so nobody knew where this money was, right? Shmuel didn't know where it was. The father was really the only one who knew where it was, and he's dead. And they were calling Shmuel the son of the guy who just eats all the money of the Yisomim, right? They assumed that he had some kind of a Ponzi scheme where he just collects money and spends it for his own needs. So Shmuel went to the cemetery to where his father was buried. Amrlu ba'ina Abba. He says, look, I need my father. So he says, I need my father. His father's name was Abba. He says, look, I'm looking for Abba, right? They said, look, there's lots of people named Abba over here. You're at a cemetery, brother. He said to them, Ba'ina Abba bar Abba. He says, okay, fine. His father was also named Abba. I'm looking for Abba bar Abba. Abba bar Abba nami tuva ikacha. He said, still, no dice. There's lots of Abba bar Abba. So he said to them, Ba'ina Abba bar Abba avur de Shmuel. He said to them, I need Abba bar Abba, who's the father of Shmuel. So, Heicha, where is he? So they said to him, Salik l'mesifta d'Rakia. They said, oh, him? He already went up to the heavenly academy. And then, while this was going on, he noticed that his friend Levi was not there in the, so Rashi says something super interesting. Hamesim niglu, right, in the Rashi, Amrule. Hamesim niglu lo ki'ilu em chutz mikivreim v'yoshim bagula. That when Shmuel got there, he saw all of the Mesim as if they were outside of their graves and they were sitting in a circle. And he noticed that Levi was not in that circle. So Amrle, he said to Levi, Amaya Saft Avrai, why are you sitting outside of the circle? My time lo salakta, why didn't you go up to the heavenly academy? So Amrle said to them, the Amrle, because they said to me, at the admissions office said to me, Kol kihana shane dilo salikas l'mesifta d'Rabbi Apas v'ach lishte l'daite lo ma'aylinan loch l'mesifta d'Rakia. So the offices of the office of admissions at the Heavenly Academy said to him, look, all those years that you did not go to Rabbi Appas and you made him feel bad that you didn't show up, so however many years that was, that's however many years you have to wait before you will be admitted. Okay, fine. And while this was going on, his father, Avur de Shmuel, Taka, showed up. And he saw that his father was both crying and smiling. Amrle said to his father, my time of kabachis, why are you crying? Amrle dila agal, right? Anybody recognize that word dila agal? Ba'agalo was mankarv v'muamen, right? Very quickly, right? You come very quickly. So his father said, because you are coming, right, ka'asis, you're coming very quickly, very soon. Okay, fine. Shmuel says, fine, no problem. My time achichas, why are you smiling? Dechashivas b'hay alma tuva. So he said, because I'm shepping a lot of nachas. You are very well regarded in this world, in the upper world. So Amar le i'iloi v'sat i'chashivna ne'ailua l'levi. So they said, well, if I'm so well regarded up there, so do me a favor, let them accept Levi into the Heavenly Academy. And guess what? Bailu the Levi, no problem, done, protexia. Amar le zuze dias mihecha. He says, okay, great. Nu tachlis. Where's the money for the orphans? It's creating a mess over here. Amar le zil shaklinu be'amasa dereichaya. Okay, go to the mill, to the millstone where they would mill, I guess, wheat and flour and stuff, and it's under the millstone. Okay, Ilai v'satai didan. The money on top and the money on the bottom is ours. Umitzae diyasme. The money in the middle is all the money for the orphans. Amarle my time abadatachi. So Shmuel says, what was the logic behind putting ours on the top and the bottom and the orphans in the middle? Amarle iganuve ganve magnevu mididan iachla ara achla mididan. Because if anything gets stolen, they'll get stolen from ours, and if the earth kind of rots any of the money, ours will be the ones that get rotten, and the money of the orphans will be preserved. Alma diyade. So we see from here that they know, because Shmuel's father knew how chashuv, everybody in the Rakia knew of Shmuel. Everybody in the Heavenly Academy knew of Shmuel, right? So clearly they know what's going on in this world. So Dilma Shani Shmuel came the chashuv kadme machazei pnumakum. Now maybe Shmuel was an exception. They don't generally know what's going on, but just because Shmuel was so great, I guess that they made announcements like, by the way, people, there's going to be this guy Shmuel, he's coming, and he's going to be a really great asset to our academy. But in general, they don't know what's going on in the world. Okay, fine. So we haven't concluded. So all we've been able to conclude so far was that at least Mesim know what's happening to them, whether the shittas are dragging on them or whether bugs are eating them, but they don't necessarily know what's going on in the world in general. So now we're back to our story with Rabbi Yonasan and Rabbi Chia, where Rabbi Yonasan initially said, right, that the Mesim don't know anything, so why would they know that I'm dragging my tzitzis? So even he reverted and he went back. Right? The Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmani, Amar Rabbi Yonasan, Minayin the Mesim shemisapim zeh im zeh. How do you know that Mesim talk to each other? Okay. Shnamar, it says, Vayomer Hashem Elav, that Hashem said to Moshe, Zos ha'aretz asher nishbaiti l'Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov lemor, right? That this is the land that I swore to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, saying, my lemor, what does it mean lemor? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Lech emor lem l'Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov, shvuah shenishbaiti lachem, kvar ki amti levnechem. Right? So go tell, Hashem says to Moshe, go tell Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that the promise that I promised to you, I have now been mekayim it. Right? Now, and if it enter your mind that they don't know what's going on in the world, well then who cares? So we'll tell them that the Yidden are now in Eretz Yisrael. Who cares? They don't know what's going on there anyways. So Ella, my diyade, fine. Ella, my diyade, but then if they do know what's going on in the world, well then why did Moshe have to tell them, right? So the Gemara answers, just so that Moshe can get the credit for it. But they did know. Even though they know, still, Moshe comes and he says to them, so that's he still creates a good relationship. I guess he's never met Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov before, so here's Moshe. He comes, he can meet them. He says, by the way, your children are there. Sure, they know, but it's conversation. Gets things off on the right leg. Shkoyach to everybody. Cool. So what did we learn today? So we learned today about hilchos of aninus, avelos, shtikol osik min mitzvah, pater min mitzvah. How much do mesim know about what's going on in this world or not? Very cool. Shkoyach. It was a pleasure. I hope everybody enjoyed. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.